The hum of the conference room's lights drilled into my skull as I stood at the head of the table, my hands steady despite the pulse hammering in my chest. I had just unveiled the Vantage Sync AI, the backbone of Corpulse Robotics' $20 million valuation. A system I had engineered over 9 grueling years. The team's applause still lingered when the door swung open. CEO Warren Holt entered with HR Stian Voss, their faces stone-cold, jarring against my triumph. "Clara, we need to talk," Warren said, his voice flat, eyes fixed on the wall behind me. Diane placed a folder on the table. My name, Clara Elise Marraro, was printed in sharp black. "Termination notice," she said, almost a whisper. "Effective immediately." The words landed like a blade, slicing through my pride. "Operational redundancy," Warren added, shifting uncomfortably. "The company's pivoting." Shock twisted into fury, a hot coil in my gut. 9 years. I had given Corpulse everything, debugging their failures, refining algorithms Warren barely understood, mentoring engineers who leaned on my expertise. I'd stayed loyal, even as he took credit for my breakthroughs, his envy veiled in backhanded praise. The injustice was a gut punch. My technology. My sacrifice. And now, this dismissal. Time to erase me before the patent royalties kicked in. My team watched, their cheers replaced by stunned silence. A public execution under fluorescent lights. I didn't scream or plead. My fingers tightened around my tablet, but my voice was ice. "Did you even test Vantage Sync specs, Warren?" His flinch betrayed a flicker of shame. I saw it then, the board memo I'd glimpsed. His name slapped on my work. My contributions buried. He'd waited until the system was live, the valuation secured, to cast me aside like scrap code. The betrayal was calculated, meant to crush. Yet, as Diane offered a box for my belongings, a cold resolve took root. I nodded, lips curling into a faint, steely smile. "Just business, Warren." My hand grazed the USB drive in my pocket, holding every Vantage Sync blueprint. Every patent filed under my name. Warren thought he'd won. He didn't know I'd been archiving every move. This wasn't the end. It was my opening gambit. The city's neon pulse flickered through my apartment blinds, its restless glow mirroring the cold fire kindling inside me. I sat at my kitchen counter, the termination folder splayed open, its sterile words a cruel echo of Warren Holt's betrayal. Dismissing me to claim my $20 million Vantage Sync AI and dodge my patent royalties. The injustice of his operational redundancy burned like a moral wound, one that demanded more than rage. 9 years of loyalty. Of salvaging Corpulse Robotics failures. Of mentoring its engineers. All reduced to a cardboard box and a smirk. I sipped black coffee, the USB drive now plugged into my laptop. Its files, blueprints, emails, my patented Vantage Sync code were a silent arsenal. Warren thought he'd erased me. But he'd missed the code I'd written into my own future. I opened my original employment contract, my engineer's precision scanning for leverage. There, page 19, section 52. My Vantage Sync patent license to Corpulse expired in 7 days unless renewed by me. Warren's haste to humiliate me had blinded him to this clause. A safeguard I'd insisted on years ago. For 1 week, I held the keys to every robot they built. Every system they sold. My pulse quickened, not with anger, but with the sharp clarity of strategy. This wasn't vengeance. It was justice, coded to run flawlessly. I leaned back, the coffee's bitterness anchoring me. 7 days to crash Warren's empire with the technology he'd stolen. At 1 a.m., I accessed my patent licensing portal. Vantage Sync's core algorithms, patented under my name, were mine to control. With a few clicks, I prepped a license suspension set to trigger at expiration. No laws broken, just my right to reclaim what I'd created. By 3 a.m., my monitoring tools pinged. Corpulse test servers showed early glitches. A preview of the chaos to come. A faint smile curved my lips, not of glee, but of controlled outrage, finding its target like a program hitting its mark. Warren would wake to a crisis he couldn't debug, built on the system he had claimed as his own. I drafted emails to key clients, my tone clinical. "Dear Ms. Lin, my termination from Corpulse ends my role as your technical liaison. Per our agreement, System access requires my authorization. I sent them, knowing clients would pause, contracts would waver, and Warren's facade would crack. My mentee, Sam, texted at 4 a.m. Vantage Sync's acting up. Warren's freaking out. I didn't reply, but the cold satisfaction settled deeper, a quiet certainty that I had begun rewriting his story. I closed my laptop. The city's hum hymned to my whisper. You miscalculated, Warren. The city's electric sprawl pulsed beyond my apartment window, its neon heartbeat syncing with the cold resolve hardening within me. 5 days after Warren Holt's betrayal, firing me to claim my $20 million Vantage Sync AI and dodge my patent royalties, Corpulse Robotics was teetering on the edge of collapse. The injustice of his operational redundancy, dismissal, a calculated lie to erase my 9 years of loyalty, burned like a live wire. But my outrage had evolved. It was no longer emotion, it was a finely tuned algorithm of strategy. My USB drive, packed with Vantage Sync's blueprints, emails, and patented code, and the looming 7-day patent license expiration, these were my kill switches, unraveling Warren's empire with ruthless precision. I sat at my kitchen counter, laptop glowing, fresh coffee steaming, as I watched his world glitch in real time. Sam's 6 a.m. text ignited the morning. Warren's called an all hands. Vantage Sync's crashing demos. Board's pissed. My monitoring tools confirmed it. Corpulse production servers were choking. License suspended. Contact patent holder flashed across client interfaces. Clients I had emailed had already halted integration, citing my absence as a breach of contract terms I had authored. The cold satisfaction wasn't a flare. It was a steady hum, like a system I'd debugged to perfection. Warren had seen me as a disposable cog, exploitable, then discardable. Now he was learning I had been the core processor all along. At 8 a.m., I leaked a screenshot to an industry contact, an email from Warren to his VP. Clara's tech is my legacy. She's too buried in code to claim it. By 10 a.m., TechBlog screamed. Corpulse CEO steals fired engineers $20 million AI. Hashtag Justice for Clara trended on X, the public tearing into Warren's lies. His memo labeling me redundant was mocked online. My client's pullbacks only fueled the fire. Sam texted again. Boardroom's a war zone. Investor Nora Patel's demanding answers. I sent Nora an anonymous tip. Review Clause 7b in the patent license. Uptime's non-negotiable. Clause 7b, my hidden trap, required 99.9% system uptime within 14 days of deployment. Impossible without my license. The $20 million valuation hung in the balance. And Warren hadn't even skimmed the contract. I shifted to my new LLC, NexusFlow, filing its Delaware registration at 11 a.m. I'd envisioned it for years. Ethical AI, transparent attribution, no Warren-style theft. I transferred $75,000 from savings, a seed for my future, and emailed Nora, along with investors Kai and Mira, who had once funded Corpulse. Corpulse collapse births a new vision. Dinner tomorrow? All responded within minutes, eager. At 1 p.m., I sent Nora a voice clip from a late-night meeting. Warren sneering. Clara's work is mine. Credits for closers. My steady reply. That's unethical, Warren. His laugh. Ethics don't cash checks, Clara. The clip was a grenade. And Nora would pull the pin. By 3 p.m., I notified more clients. My termination voids Corpulse system access rights. Medical and military contracts stalled. Data providers locked accounts. Sam texted. Warren's hired consultants. 6 months minimum to rebuild Vantage Sync. I smirked. No budget could bypass my patent. At dusk, I dove back into the license agreement. My engineer's mantra echoed in my head. Verify. Don't trust. It guided me. Clause 7b was my primary weapon, but a secondary clause tied client deliverables to my oversight. Without me, Corpulse was in breach of multi-million-dollar contracts, amplifying the chaos. Evening brought a viral X-post, a video of Warren cutting me off mid-demo, claiming Clara is too technical for vision. My calm nod in that moment spoke volumes. It hit 700,000 views. I commented. He said I'd fade. Nexus Flow says otherwise. The cold satisfaction wasn't in Warren's pain, but in the poetic irony. His arrogance had become his crash. I drafted Nexus Flow's mission, AI with honor, built for all. Warren's empire was fracturing. My controlled outrage had become its catalyst. Standing by my window, the city's rhythm matched mine. I whispered, 2 days left, Warren. Time's running out. The city's neon arteries throbbed outside my window, their electric pulse echoing the quiet storm surging within me. 6 days into my 7-day window, Corpul's robotics was a faltering machine. Warren Holt's betrayal, stealing my $20 million Vantage Sync AI and firing me to evade patent royalties, had been his fatal error. The injustice of his operational redundancy, dismissal, a deliberate lie to erase my 9 years of devotion, still seared like a fault line. But my outrage had become a precision-engineered counterstrike. My USB drives, an arsenal of blueprints, emails, patented code, and the looming license expiration were dismantling Warren's empire with clinical accuracy. At my kitchen counter, laptop aglow, fresh coffee cooling, I orchestrated his collapse with icy calm. Sam's 7 a.m. text fueled the fire. Boards in chaos. Nora Patel's tearing Warren apart. Corpul's production servers were paralyzed. License suspended, errors crippled a high-stakes military demo. Clients, alerted by my emails, froze contracts, citing my absence as a violation of terms I had crafted. The cold satisfaction wasn't ablaze. It was a steady current, like a circuit I'd optimized to perfection. Warren had dismissed me as a replaceable line of code. Now he was learning. I was the operating system. At 9 a.m., I leaked another damning screenshot to an industry ally, an email where Warren gloated. Clara's too deep in the weeds to take my spotlight. Tech blogs erupted. Corpul's CEO's ego sabotages $20 million AI. Hashtag Justice for Clara trended fiercely. The public shredded Warren's lies. His redundant smear was a laughingstock. My voice clip, his sneer, ethics don't cash checks, had gone viral, shared 300,000 times on X. Sam texted, Nora played your clip to the board. Warren stuttering. I smirked. The irony was razor-sharp. His own voice was his undoing. I leaned into Nexus Flow, my LLC, now a tangible force. At 11 a.m., I met virtually with Nora, Kai, and Mira, pitching Nexus Flow's vision. Ethical AI, transparent credit. You're a game changer, Clara, Nora said, committing $3 million. I hired Sam and 4 ex-Corpul's engineers. Their resignations gutted Warren's team. By 2 p.m., I sent Nora a patent log from my Corpul's tenure, evidence of Warren siphoning funds to a shell company, Vision Corp. My note. He fired me to hide this. Legal and devastating. The log sparked SEC murmurs. Sam texted, Warren's suing the board. It's a circus. At 4 p.m., a TikTok video exploded, Warren interrupting my demo, dismissing me as too technical for leadership. My composed silence resonated. The video hit 2 million views. I commented. He said I'd crash. Nexus Flow's my flight. The cold satisfaction wasn't in Warren's pain, but in the poetic justice. His hubris was his crash. By evening, I emailed more clients, reinforcing Corpul's breaches. Consultants quoted $8 million to rebuild Vantage Sync. But I knew no one could crack my patent. As night settled, I polished Nexus Flow's press release. Nexus Flow AI, built on trust. It would launch alongside Corpul's layoffs. My ascent would bury Warren's fall. Standing by my window, the city's rhythm pulsed with mine. One day remained, but Warren's empire was already rubble. My controlled outrage had rewritten his code. And I was just warming up. The city's electric pulse thrummed through my apartment window, its neon glow a mirror to the quiet triumph surging within me. 7 days after Warren Holt's betrayal, stealing my $20 million Vantage Sync AI and firing me to dodge patent royalties, Corpul's robotics was a collapsing circuit, its systems frozen. The injustice of his operational redundancy lie, a calculated erasure of my 9 years of loyalty, still scorched. But my controlled outrage had become a perfectly executed program. My USB drive's arsenal of blueprints, emails, patented code, and the now expired Vantage Sync license were my kill switches, halting Warren's empire with surgical precision. At my kitchen counter, laptop open, fresh coffee cooled as I steered the final crash of his world. Sam's 6 a.m. text confirmed the meltdown. Warren's out. Board voted 12-0 to fire him after Nora's onslaught. My voice clip, Warren smugly sneering, "Ethics don't cash checks," had been the executioner's blade, replayed in the boardroom. Corpal's stock plummeted 20% by 9 a.m., headlines roaring. CEO ousted in $20 million AI fiasco. My patent logs exposing Warren's Vision Core fund siphoning had sparked an SEC probe. Ex-posts of his arrest, in cuffs, went viral. The cold satisfaction wasn't a shout. It was a steady hum, like a system I'd coded to run flawlessly. Warren's arrogance had been his fatal bug. Nexus Flow, my LLC, was now a powerhouse. With $3 million in funding, I'd hired Sam as CTO and 7 ex-Corpals engineers. Their resignations gutted Warren's talent pool. At 10 a.m., I signed a $25 million contract with Omnitech, Corpal's former client, who'd fled after my license suspension. Their CEO emailed, "Clara, you're a cornerstone. Don't fail us." I wouldn't. Nexus Flow was my vision of AI with integrity. By noon, I checked our press release metrics. Nexus Flow launches AI with trust was trending, eclipsing Corpal's layoff headlines. A Forbes interview request landed in my inbox. "We're calling you a visionary. Thoughts?" I agreed. I was ready to shape my legacy. At 2 p.m., Diane from HR called, voice trembling. "I told the SEC Warren fired you to hide his fraud." "I'm sorry." Her testimony fueled my $7 million wrongful termination suit, now headlined, "Clara Morrow's lawsuit crushes Corpals." I thanked her. No rancor. Truth was my ally. At 4 p.m., the TikTok video of Warren's demo interruption hit 8 million views. My calm nod, a fan favorite. I commented, "He said I'd fail." Nexus Flow's my proof. It earned 3 million likes. My work was outshining his lies. That evening, I walked Nexus Flow's office, its collaborative buzz a living rebuke to Corpal's screed. I sent a final client email, cementing Corpal's contract breaches. Sam texted a photo, Nexus Flow's logo gleaming on our office door. "Your empire, Clara." The cold satisfaction wasn't in Warren's ruin. It was the poetic irony. His betrayal had launched my ascent. At midnight, Warren's desperate email arrived. "Nexus Flow needs my expertise. Let's partner." I replied, "No redundancy needed," and blocked him. The license deadline had passed. The battle was won. Standing by my window, the city's lights a silent ovation, I whispered, "This is mine." The vibrant skyline gleamed through the glass walls of Nexus Flow's new headquarters, its radiant pulse, a testament to my victory. 8 days after Warren Holt's betrayal, stealing my $20 million Vantage Sync AI and firing me to dodge my patent royalties, Corpal's Robotics was a bankrupt relic. Its collapse, a monument to his hubris. The injustice of his operational redundancy, lie, a calculated attempt to erase 9 years of devotion, had forged my cold, relentless strategy. My USB drives, arsenal blueprints, emails, patented code, and the expired Vantage Sync license dismantled Warren's empire with surgical precision. At my desk, a framed screenshot of his email sat like a trophy. "Clara's tech is my legacy." A silent reminder, truth eclipses deceit. At 8 a.m., Sam burst in, grinning. "Corpals is done." The $20 million deal reverted to Omnitech after Clause 7B failed. My license suspension had ensured they couldn't meet the uptime metric, a trap I'd coded into the deal. Tech blogs roared. Corpals crashes, fired engineers AI kills $20 million deal. My patent logs exposing Warren's Vision Core fund siphoning had triggered his SEC indictment. Ex-posts of his cuffed exit went viral, 5 million views and climbing. The cold satisfaction wasn't a cheer. It was a steady hum, like a system running at peak performance. Warren's greed had been his fatal error. Nexus Flow was now a titan. Our $25 million Omnitech contract sparked 4 more, totaling $40 million, drawn to our ethos of transparency. With $6 million in funding, our team, 50 strong, half ex-corporals, buzzed in our open plan office. I'd named Sam CTO. His loyalty a foundation. At 10 a.m., I reviewed our press release impact. Nexus Flow, AI with trust had buried Corporal's demise. Hashtag Justice for Clara trended globally. Forbes confirmed my interview. We're calling it From Betrayal to Brilliance. I nodded. I was ready to cement Nexus Flow's legacy. At 1 p.m., Diane emailed her SEC testimony. Warren fired Clara to cover his fraud. It strengthened my $7 million lawsuit, now headlined, Clara Morrow ends Corporals. I replied with gratitude, no bitterness. Her truth was a pillar. At 3 p.m., the demo interruption TikTok soared to 12 million views. My composed silence had become a rallying cry. I commented. He said I'd break. Nexus Flow built better. For million likes. My work was eclipsing his lies. That evening, I wandered Nexus Flow's office, its collaborative spirit a stark contrast to Corporal Savarus. A team member pinned a Forbes logo to our wall, a placeholder for tomorrow's cover. Warren's pitiful email begging to join Nexus Flow sat deleted in my inbox. My reply, no redundancy needed, was a poetic trophy. I finalized our motto. Innovate with integrity. Empower with truth. Tomorrow, we'd announce a $12 million expansion. Nexus Flow was soaring as Corporal's ashes settled. Nora texted, "You're rewriting the industry, Clara." I smiled. The cold satisfaction wasn't in Warren's fall, but in the irony. His betrayal had birthed my empire. As night fell, I stood by the office window. The city's lights were a symphony of possibility. My phone pinged with a reporter's query. "What's next for Clara?" I typed, "Building what endures." The war was over. My strategy, a masterclass in turning betrayal into brilliance. Nexus Flow wasn't just a company. It was my vindication. My revolution. My future. It was proof that truth outshines treachery. I whispered to the skyline. "This is ours." The morning sun bathed Nexus Flow's headquarters, light glinting off the framed Forbes cover in the lobby. From betrayal to brilliance, Clara Morrow's AI revolution. 1 year after Warren Holt's betrayal, stealing my $20 million Vantage Sync AI and firing me to dodge my royalties, Corporal's Robotics was a bankrupt footnote. Its ruins stood as a testament to his arrogance. The injustice of his operational redundancy lie had forged a cold, calculated strategy, one that transformed betrayal into my forge. The evidence I carried on my USB drive, combined with the expired patent license, dismantled his empire. Nexus Flow rose in its place, a beacon of integrity. At my desk, I traced the etched words on our plaque. Innovate with integrity. Empower with truth. Sam entered, beaming as he handed me a report. Omnitech just quadrupled their contract, $100 million. They call you their visionary. Nexus Flow's team, now 80 strong, thrived within our $12 million expansion, fueling innovation and attracting world-class talent. Warren's SEC conviction had faded from the headlines, eclipsed by Nexus Flow's meteoric rise. My $7 million lawsuit? A footnote beside our $30 million in new funding. Tech blogs crowned us the ethical AI gold standard. Our culture of transparency drew in global clients and engineers alike. At noon, a package arrived, a cracked Corporal's badge and signed likely Warren's. Inside, a scrolled note. "You won, Clara." I smiled and tossed it aside. The cold satisfaction wasn't in his defeat. It was in my creation. A vision he could never grasp. That evening, we gathered on Nexus Flow's rooftop. String lights twinkled above us. Glasses raised. Laughter in the air. To Clara, Sam toasted, who turned treachery into triumph. The team's cheers rang out not for revenge, but for our mission. By the railing, the city lights sprawled below, a digital constellation of what we'd built. My phone pinged. A reporter's email. "What would you say to Warren now?" I typed, "Thanks for the push. I built beyond you." And I felt no anger. Only the calm of a legacy secured. Nexus Flow was living proof. Truth outlives lies. I clinked my glass with Sam's. The skyline a silent promise. Warren's shadow was gone. This was my light, and it would shine forever. Warren Holt's betrayal, erasing my $20 million Vantage Sync AI and dismissing me with a hollow redundancy, was meant to crush me. Instead, it awakened a truth I now wield like a beacon. His injustice, stealing credit, silencing loyalty, taught me that true power doesn't come from accolades denied or systems that cast us out. It comes from the quiet resolve to rise, to forge something unbreakable when others expect collapse. From Corpus ruins, I built Nexus Flow, a monument to integrity over ego, proof that truth outshines deceit. We've all felt the sting of being sidelined, our voices ignored, our work buried by those too small to see our worth. But those moments don't define us. They refine us. They dare us to choose. Shrink beneath betrayal's shadow, or rise taller, crafting legacy from pain's embers. My journey from Warren's lies to Nexus Flow's triumph wasn't about revenge. It was about reclaiming my code, my story, my truth. Line by line, you, too, hold a spark. A narrative ready to soar. Don't let betrayal dim your light. Let it fuel your ascent. Build, persist, shine, not for their applause, but for the world you know you can shape. This lesson is ours. A reminder that our deepest scars can birth our brightest victories. Fire craving more stories that stir the soul and reveal strength in life's toughest trials? Subscribe to our channel for captivating videos that inspire, challenge, and empower. Join us. Let's ignite the next story together.